Hi, everybody. I apologize for the delay. Having some technical difficulties over here. Give me one moment to get everything completed and set up for you all. Okay, since I see that this is not allowing me to do what I wanted to be able to do here, I am going to have to talk through it. Okay. Thank you all for joining me. I apologize again for the technical difficulties and the starting not on time. What I wanted to do is try to incorporate a split screen here to share the same material that I have on my screen, but for some odd reason, I am having trouble doing so. So what I want to do is just go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Saida. I am a certified peer recovery specialist. And since I started this work as a family support partner, I wanted to figure out what my niche is, and I found my people. So as a certified recovery specialist, I know it was a lot of people in my group that I was working with that wasn't ready to move forward with getting their certification. And many of them were just, caregivers and parents and other workers in the field of mental health that wasn't prepared to move forward with their 500 hours and their 25 hours needed for supervision. So since as a family support partner, I was all set to go to get my certification, but I needed to study a little bit more. I wasn't quite sure that I was ready to do it, that I read enough, that I knew enough, and that I learned enough throughout the whole time. So what I thought was, why not start a study group for those that are not ready to get the certification? Because as you all know, once you complete a training, and if you're not ready to move forward, a lot of that information goes right out the window. So to prevent that information from going out the window and to help you all maintain momentum and wanting to go forward in this work, to help families, each other, and everyone on that level of peer-to-peer support, I said, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to have a study group. So this study group is called the PRS3G. It stands for Peer Recovery Specialist Support Study Group, and it's by me. I'm not going to go over all the slides that we have here. I know many of you had read through them previously. So what I'm just let you know is who I am and what the agenda would look like. If you all have it in front of you, then it's great. And then I also have resources and material. I so apologize that it wasn't possible to include it to show you all. But I had added a link on here yesterday, so many of you may not have seen it. But it is from the Rhode Island Peer Recovery Specialist Certification. It's a study guide. So if you follow that link that I added on here yesterday, you'll be able to pull the guide up online. And that will be one of the tools that we'll be using going forward with this support group, as well as so many other resources and materials that are out there. The agenda will be a living agenda. You'll be able to see, starting from agenda, you'll be able to see everything that we'll be going over each and every session. We'll have rules. which state that these rules apply in all aspects when you are in the same space, online or reading and responding to comments. Please just have respect for each other and each other's personal thoughts and needs, because we're all here for different reasons and we all need different things. Please do not use derogatory language or insensitive language. And please remember, this is a study group, not a training, because many of us have already went through our needed training. And if you have not, and you're thinking of becoming a peer recovery specialist, then this may be a way to get a little bit of extra information and knowledge on top to help you make a decision if this is for you or not in moving forward. We'll always have introductions, like my name is Saida, and what are your hopes and what are your good news? My hopes is that this group goes well and that at least one person uses it very well in order to pass their certification exam and going forward, and that someone uses it to help them make a better choice or decision in their lives that they might be struggling with, or just to have extra information on what is a peer recovery specialist, what is a support specialist, what is a peer that is there to help you with lived experience. You know, what does that mean? And I know if you all are parents and caregivers that decide to tune in, then this might be the information that you need to understand more about the work that we do. We'll have a review of the previous sessions that have been completed. And so far, we don't have any previous sessions, so we'll be reviewing a refresher of what we all learned in training. So we'll have that, and we'll go over like the basics of peer recovery specialists, and we'll also talk about our 4 main targeted topics, which for this group, our 4 main targeted topics will be peer-to-peer relations, recovery and wellness tools, ethical code of conduct, and advocacy. Now, once we go over our past sessions and review them, we'll move on to our new target of study. So each section will have its own specific target of study, so that way you'll have time to focus and to see the things that it is that you're wanting to study, wanting to go over information that you'll need at that time during that session. So right now, our new target of study will be the review, will be the peer recovery specialist, what does that and a peer support, family support partner, and peer group facilitators, plus many others have in common. And a little bit more in depth of the 4 main topics we'll be going over throughout these session studies. And then we'll also, once we go through that and have our session, it'll be listing what our next targeted topic will be. And since this is the introduction session, our next targeted topic will be the purpose of a peer recovery specialist. And it will focus on the peer-to-peer relationship in building a rapport, earning trust, sharing your experience and positive language, and much more. And then at the end of the agenda, it will say end of session and resources. This, if you're looking at it, I may have made some changes to it. I realized it was a lot of, some things in there that I wanted to change. So a new copy of our introduction session will be sent out today, along with the link again for the Rhode Island Peer Recovery Specialist certification. It will say that this is the end of the session, and it will include resources. And it'll also have a link that says subscribe, 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 because I'm also going to be posting videos and information on YouTube. It's going to be under Miss MS. Undiagnosed, and that's me. So for today, our resources and study material will be the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Development Service PRS Training Manual, the Rhode Island Peer Recovery Specialist Certification Study Guide. And all of that has links here to the VA Certification Board.org, information to international credentialing information is here. NAMI Virginia, which is a great supporter, which is something that if you don't know about it, please look it up. NAMI is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and they help train. They bring all types of information, trainings, and groups for adults, parents, and caregivers throughout the whole state of Virginia and many other areas. If you look it up, NAMI is everywhere. So if you need that as a resource to help you get started, if you just found out that your child or a family member has been diagnosed, then that would be a good start. Because when I found out about my family member and needing services for myself as a caregiver, as a parent, just trying to make it through the systems of care here, I did not realize that those types of resources were available. So Virginia Family Network and NAMI Virginia should be your first stop. And of course, my YouTube videos under Undiagnosed. And this peer group here, Let's Adapt to Healing. And then you will see it says end of session. And then that's how you know that is the end of the group. Now, since we are not at the end and we're just getting started, we're going to go through the agenda and follow along. It was going to have a review of all the words and so forth that we've learned in training. And I was hoping to have a shared screen with you all, because I don't want to just sit here and just talk to you. I wanted you to be able to interact and see what I see. But I am still going to go over the material, as awkward as it is, that I feel, because this group is for us to be able to interact with each other, bounce some ideas off, and just to get an idea of how we want this group to work and how it would be best beneficial to you all. So we had words like pathways to hope, vision and mission of the behavioral health Department of Services, a life of possibilities for all Virginians, supporting individuals by promoting recovery, self-determination and wellness in all aspects of life, person-centered approach to recovery, language matters, listening, only you can fight stigma, stages of change, crisis planning, reframing, advocacy, shifting mindset, trauma-informed, recovery, resilience, wellness, do for, do with, cheer on, hope, addiction, mental health goals for recovery, communication, listening, multiple pathways, listening, respect, connection, mutuality, and we're all in this together. And for today, our main topic is recovery is possible for everyone. I'm not going to go through the questions. I'm not going to take up the time like that since I'm unable to share the screen with you. But I'm going to just say that a peer supporter learns about how their emotions work. Professional development is an ongoing process to update skills and knowledge. And before I continue, I'm going to talk about the study. Now, as you all know, that everyone studies differently. Some of us have to sit quietly. We can go at the library and do it. Some of us need things to occupy our attention while we sit here thinking and reading. Many of us need music to listen to. Myself, I love listening to loud music, instrumental music, while I study. You need tools such as your markers and your highlighters to write down those notes and highlight those passages. So have your markers and highlighters ready. Have your pens ready to take your notes. Have your sticky pads all ready to go. And like myself, some of us have to have a little notebook. And with the notebook, you can put little color tabs here to mark off the pages. And on here, you can write down the subjects, such as peer recovery, ethics. These are the notes in the areas in which you put it on. So these are just some ideas to help you get through the study session. Some of us get a little fidgeting. So I have a fidget spinner that's incognito as a highlighter. Guess where I got it? NAMI, Virginia, people. Awesome. And another thing is our index cards. Now I put mine, I used a hole puncher and I put it on string. So that way I can do like this. You can use a key ring. Some of us may prefer to write our notes that way and have a way to hang it up and put it to the side until we want to add on. We just untie it or unroll it and we can have our notes handy here. And then just multiple loose index cards just to keep track as we talk. You can write things down and you can make flashcards for yourself. And you can ask others to test you. We can do that here as well. Just some ideas to prepare you for studying. I had to remember to get my glasses today. I have my cup of tea here with me and my cell phone. Now, some of us cannot bring a cell phone along to study. Because you know why? Because it keeps us from doing the actual studying. So make sure if your cell phone is here as a timer. You might have some information on it. So set that information on top and put your notifications and anything else on pause if it's possible. And please make sure that you have your guide ready to go through it, your Rhode Island Peer Recovery Specialist Certification Study Guide. It'll be handy. We won't only just use that. We have other materials that are covered, ethics as we go forward, and advocacy. Now you asked, what does this all have to do with getting prepared for certification? Well, we all are in different stages of what we know. Even though we went through the training, but much of our work background, we have different. Now, some of us may know all about what a peer supporter is, what a partner does, and how it works. But then I ask yourself, do you? Do you really? Because when it comes to the certification and writing these answers down and looking at these questions, your responses through your lived and work experience may be different from what it's looking for. So I just want you all to keep that in mind, because sometimes we get on a job and we work it for so long that we tend to forget the basics. We forget the training in which we've learned. So it'd be really important for most of us, for many of us, to just go back sometimes and, and go back over the material so we can, get it back in our heads, reevaluate, revisit what we may have lost that we didn't know we lost. So that's what I wanted to get y'all prepared for our study tools. Now we're just going to do a little flashcard here, on-screen flashcards. And when I say that, that's me talking and you listening. But please, 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 if you have any questions or any input, and if this worked out correctly for the settings, I put up some questions for you all just to get an idea of what you're looking for, what resources you would like, subjects you would like to talk about separately from the group within the Let's Adapt to Healing group. And what other material would you like to see, and what assistance do you need, and what are your needs moving forward? So please, if those questions are available, because this is the first time I'm setting it up, so I'll make sure that next time through our next session, it should run more smoothly than what it is right now. A peer support learns about how their emotions work. Professional development is an ongoing process to update skills and knowledge. A peer recovery specialist story can be a powerful recovery tool. A peer support specialist uses their lived experience as part of the recovery process. Peer supporters are positive, hopeful, inspirational, and motivating. Peer supporters facilitate support groups, and spirituality can be a part of someone's recovery. When you are developing a recovery or wellness plan, you should include the best thinking of the peer. Someone recovers once they decide that life will be different, believe they have a future, learn how to manage symptoms. Core values of peer support. Nothing about me without me. Peer support helps others find their own voice. Peer supporters know how to build trust. What is the foundation pathway of peer support? It's hope. If you are a peer supporter, a family partner, or anything in the field of mental health, or anyone, even a family or friend or caregiver, just remember it's hope that everyone needs. Just that 1 ounce, that one drop, that one idea, that anything, and it's all possible, and it can be. According to the agenda, that would be the end of that slide, and that's how we would end our sessions. And at the end, it would normally say, this is the end. Thank you so much for your support. Please leave a constructive comment and remember to subscribe. Now, what I would like to go over is our tool of the Rhode Island Peer Recovery Specialist Training. Now, since some of you may not have it in front of you, so I'm going to just let you know that the different sections that we'll be talking about will be covered through here. I'm going to just go over just a little bit. When you go through the table of contents, it'll let you know how to get ready for an exam, all the information you need there. It'll also go over major concepts and skill areas and definitions. It gives you an opportunity to learn more about peer support recovery, building relationships and communication, boundaries and ethical issues, and supporting recovery and wellness. Now, with this Rhode Island study guide, it does have a short exam in here. It is located on page 31. Now, it's just a few questions. It's nowhere near the same amount of questions that you will find in the actual exam. So please don't take the practice questions and believe that is it. That is all you have to worry about. It's just maybe 20 or so questions, and no, it's many more questions on the actual exam. This just covers a couple of them from the study material that we'll be going over. And it also has an answer key in the back. So what I would be suggesting is that we go over the material because it can be very, very helpful. And we can also go over the practice exam questions as well. Maybe pop them up on the screen and give everybody a chance to try to answer them without going through the answer key first, because it's important to understand why those are the answers, not just that they are the answers. And then it's going to be much more material that we go over and go through to get a better idea of how to pass and get your certification and to retain some training knowledge moving forward. I must apologize again that we got started so late and we don't have the split screen. So I would normally just ask if there's any questions. Would you like to, talk about anything specifically or go over the material? But since we don't have a shared screen, I will let you all go a little early. But I would like to just let you know, again, for the next session, have your markers, your notepads, your sticky pads, your fidget spinner if you need it, highlighters, and whatever you need to help you study through the day. And I'll also put in time for breaks, because we also have to remember we have to eat lunch, and it's important for self-care. So whether we have to stretch in our seats, whether we have to snack on something while we read, while we listen. Remember, those things are also needed to keep us going through our just our regular everyday. And also moving forward, if there's time and if you would like to just be still in the group once the group is ended, if we leave early, then I don't mind sitting here in a quiet space or time with you all while you read through something or you take your notes before closing down the group, because you can do it alone, but my question to you is why? So thank you so very much for for joining me today in the Peer Recovery Specialist Support Study Group introductory session. And I hope to see you at many other sessions. And remember to subscribe to Miss MS. Undiagnosed on YouTube. Thank you and have a great day.